Welcome back to the Creative Business Mindset Podcast. My name is Jane Bellante, and today we're going straight to the heart of something that affects so many creative entrepreneurs, but very few of us are willing to talk about it honestly. And we are talking today about hustle. And it's not just the doing, but the actual performing, the chasing, and the subtle addictive ways social media seduces us into seeking other people's approval. And how that cycle will never give you what you're looking for. So today's episode is about breaking free from that. And this is for the artist and the maker and the coach and the creator who's doing all the right things, posting all the time, pushing and proving and striving for more, but inside it still does not feel like you. So let's talk about what it means to build a business that is actually meant for you. And this is like the very core of what I teach about. And I hope that you are here with me live in the Limitless Creators Hub on Facebook. Every single Monday, I am here live at 10 a.m. Central Time. And then you can also listen to the replay on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or you can watch the replay on YouTube. So Jocelyn's here, and Michelle is here, and Audrey's here. Hello. So excited, you guys. I'm so excited that you're here. I have to open my phone for the comments because it doesn't work on Facebook. Who knows why? But anyways, and I want you to know too that I understand this at the very core of my being because this was me. This is what I was doing. I was hustling all the time for approval. And it's not like I was going out and going, I want people to approve of me, right? But the actions that I was taking and like oh my God, no one's liking my stuff and am I not good enough? And it almost led to like embarrassment. Do you know what I'm saying? Like knowing that I was a good artist. I was teaching, I was showing my stuff, I was showing up like everybody else, throwing my pen, and let me just put that down. And because of the algorithm, I wasn't getting the amount of likes that I wanted to get. And it just puts you in this trap. And the trap is, I want to name it here because this is important. Most of us were not taught to trust ourselves. We were taught to perform, we were taught to prove, we were taught to earn our worth, but we were not taught to trust ourselves. And so it's no surprise that we bring those same patterns into our business. And we hustle and we hustle and we hustle because that's like what we're told to do. That's what we see everybody doing. You have a baby and 3 days later you're back in the office. You got to hustle, right? And we create because we love it, but what our business turns into is like a production machine because we think that we're supposed to post something all the time. And we post things based on fear. We also post stuff like, oh my God, I didn't post today. What the heck am I going to post? And we just throw something random up there. And then we edit ourselves and go, oh my God, I don't know if I actually should post that. Let me just change those words or let me completely delete that, right? We shrink ourselves and we obsess over the likes and who's, putting a heart. Did this get shared? Is anybody commenting? And underneath all of that, we are just trying to feel worthy. And like, we're looking for a robot algorithm to validate us. And we're looking for external approval. That why doesn't anybody like me? Oh, I must not be worthy. And you might not even be saying that out loud. You might just be getting angry, or you might be getting like I was, like embarrassed. But deep down, it is like a validation of unworthiness. Like, yeah, why am I even doing this? I probably shouldn't even be doing this because I know that I'm not worthy enough, right? Hey, Pam. It's crazy because we want strangers on the internet to tell us that we're good enough. But what I want you to know, and what I have learned at the very core of my being, is that approval doesn't work that way. You can collect likes and loves and comments all day long and still feel like a fraud. You can post every single day and still feel invisible. You can hit 6 figures and still feel like you're not enough. Because actually, the only approval that matters and that actually creates peace inside of you is self-approval. And I bet you knew I was going to say that, right? No algorithm, no strategy, and no marketing guru can give you that. You have to give that to yourself. And social media is really like this subtle seduction that we cannot get away from. And we rarely examine this. You know that I examine it, but we just kind of fall into like this, again, this robot pattern, like go on social media, try to get approval. Like, this is where my business is being built. Like, it's a tool, but it's also a performance platform, right? It invites us to compare ourselves with everybody. It invites us to edit ourselves. It invites us to like curate something that doesn't even feel real. And for most of us, it becomes the source of our actual business identity, even though it was never meant to be. But that's what we think. This is the only place we have to build a business now, right? Get on social media, post 5 times a day, go live, even though I hate it. And we start asking ourselves, well, what's trending? Well, maybe I should change my whole business to that. Ooh, I love this thing that she made. I'm going to make this and I'm going to make money with it. Or what did she post that, oh my God, that actually went viral. Look at how many likes she got on this. Oh my gosh, Or like, what kind of reel is going to make people like me? And it all stems back to that self-worth. Is this making sense? Those of you who are here live with me, is this ringing a bell? Because without even realizing it, we have turned our business into a performance. But here's the thing, you do not need to be a trending version of yourself to be successful. You don't have to go viral to be impactful. You don't have to be on every single platform every single day to be worthy. And you don't have to follow business advice that feels like a betrayal of who you are, but you're doing it anyways. Well, I got to do it anyways because that's what people say and that's blah, blah, blah. Like, I hate it, but I got to do it anyways. And you feel like a fake version of yourself. This is ringing every bell for me, right? Jocelyn says, yep. Michelle says, absolutely makes sense. And so I want to say this, and I know you've heard me say this before, but it's worth repeating, is that you are allowed to build your business in a way that nourishes you. And guess what? You can build any kind of business you want. Any kind. It is the deliberate intention and the deliberate creation of that. Staying on target, knowing who you are, and then building based on that. Putting like big, massive boundaries in place. What I will do, what I will not do. It's so important. We don't have to mimic somebody else to have a successful business. We just have to build what we want. And that is why I start with identity in my 4 pillars, because it's so important, especially in this day and age when anybody can start a business online and be like, I'm a business now, right? This is how you stand out, and this is how people actually magnetize to you, because you are building something based on your identity, what you love to create. And I always say, like, what do you love to create when nobody is watching you? The thing that lights you up the most, that gets you so excited. Because anything else is going to eventually burn you out or just break you down so that you're like, I can't do this anymore. I'm so done. And we choose what we pay attention to because, our attention is actually really sacred if we get down to the nuts and bolts of it all. And because of social media and because of the society that we live in, your attention is being pulled in every single direction. Squirrel, 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 right? But you choose what you pay attention to, and what you pay attention to grows. So if you are obsessing over what's not working, guess what you're going to find? More and more and more evidence of failure. If you scroll endlessly for proof that you're good enough, and so you're comparing yourself over and over again, you will find more proof that you're not good enough. Because guess what? Other people, you're always going to find people who are prettier than you, a better artist than you, a better coach than you, all of that, right? So we can compare ourselves forever. But if you start paying attention to what nourishes your energy, your creativity, your clarity, your business is going to grow from that place. Because until you know who you truly are and where you're working from, right? Because, when I realized that I was working from I'm never enough or I'm not enough, like what? That is like where every offer, every art, everything that I was putting out was like, I'm not enough. And all of the evidence came back. I wasn't enough. It was never enough. So until you truly know who you are, and this is not the version of you that is performing right now, that's performing for approval, that's seeking the likes, because you've heard me say this before. You can get all the likes you want on social media, but if they don't equate to sales, it means nothing. So it's not the version of you that performs for approval. It's not the version of you that mimics what is working for someone else, because that makes us feel like, well, why isn't this working for me or for her? So the version of you that's rooted in the truth of who you are helps you to build a business that feels like you, that feels easy, that feels joyful, that feels like you actually want to show up every day and do it. Not the version that is performing all the time and is like burning out and going, I should just get a job. I don't know if I can do this anymore. So I want you to pause and ask yourself right now, what am I giving my attention to every day? If you're picking up that phone and scrolling and comparing yourself every single day, that's what you're giving your attention to, right? Or are you giving your attention to creating what you love to create and being in that flow? And then asking yourself, after you say, what am I giving my attention to every day? Ask yourself, does it nourish me or does it deplete me? How are you feeling in your body every single day? Because that's a big, huge clue. If you're feeling angry and upset and stressed and anxious all the time, what are you putting your attention to? Because those thoughts then create the feeling inside of your body. And then say or ask yourself, what would I shift if I only did what felt aligned with the business I actually want? Because we can tell ourselves what we actually want for our business, but then we're not true to that. We do everything but that. And here I am going right back down into the lack hole, right? Because that's what you're putting your attention on. So does anybody want to be brave that's here live and answer any of these questions? What am I giving my attention to every day? Does it nourish me or deplete me? Or you could just answer in the comments like, nourish or deplete? What am I giving my attention to every day? Is it nourishing me or depleting me? You could put nourishing or depleting in the comments. And what would I shift if I only did what felt aligned with the business that I actually want? What would I shift? Because our path is not supposed to look like somebody else's. And that's why it feels like this mainstream advice of you got to go live, you got to get to 10,000 followers, you got to get monetized, like all the things that we hear all the time. You got to be on Instagram and Pinterest and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and whatever else, Threads and X. And like it just gets, even saying it out loud, I feel like I'm choking, right? So we don't need to follow mainstream advice that feels wrong for you. You can opt out. You can unsubscribe to these thoughts. They're your own thoughts. You can choose your own pace, your own rhythm. You can choose your own voice because your business isn't meant to look like somebody else's. That's why it feels so hard. So Pam is saying her attention is on caregiving and her attention is on her membership group. And those are her two main things. Audrey says, I toggle back and forth between nourish and deplete. I was depleting for a few weeks and I ended up really sick. I mean, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy how that works out? Took the weekend to rest and realign and center on what brings me joy to create. And that's the only important thing. And trusting that alignment, it actually creates momentum. Because we can slow down long enough to hear our own ideas. And we know that the ideas that we get when we are quiet, when we are in creation and flow and all of that, those ideas excite us. That's our intuition telling us this is where we need to be. And the people that are here live, the people that are listening or watching the replay, you are some kind of a creative business owner. And you started this business for a reason, for an actual reason. So understanding that we are okay to do it differently, that's the point. So that we can show up as our true selves so that our real customers can understand completely who we are. They understand that you know who they are and that those unwanted, like hidden thoughts that they have of the things that they are trying to do in their own lives, those problems that you are solving for them unconsciously, they get it. They look at you and they go, oh my God, I love her. Or, oh, that she's talking directly to me. Or look at that piece. I need that immediately, right? It's just you being brave enough to show up as you. And let me tell you, once you do that, the fear just falls away. Yep, there's new levels of fear. You've heard new level, new devil before, right? But it just falls away because the alignment to self feels real. You don't feel like you're performing anymore. You feel okay and actually really good about being you. And I started this off with talking about self-worth and self-acceptance. We hustle for other people to like us. We think that brands are all of a sudden going to reach out and go, hey, do you want to be a brand ambassador for me? Like, because you're tagging them all the time and, really, really hustling to prove who we are. And it just gets to the point, what Audrey just said, like, you just get to the point where you're just like, I'm so depleted from this. And you do get sick in your body. We hustle for proof. We chase approval from whatever feed that we're in, Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're at. And we try to be a version of ourselves that we think that people will like more. And it just ends up making us feel worse and worse and worse inside. Like, why do I have this anxiety all the time? I should be loving my business. So I want to invite you to just take a breath. You don't have to do it that way anymore. You can build whatever it is that you want. You can work as many days as you want or as little days as you want. You can build a very successful business where you're actually making the kind of money that you want in whatever way you want to build it. You get to choose where your attention goes. You get to approve of yourself first, so that when anybody around you is saying anything, it doesn't shake you because you know who you are. You know your worth. And you're not like, this isn't ego where you're like, I'm better than everybody. It is literally like, I'm worthy and it doesn't matter what you say about me because I know who I am. You get to build something that feels like you. And when you do that, when you're aligning with your true identity, you don't just grow your business, you grow your actual freedom, which is the reason we started our businesses in the first place, right? We want to make stuff, whatever it is that we create, and we want to make money from it, and we want to do it on our own time. So this version of you who actually trusts herself, she isn't far away. She's actually already here. You just have to let her lead. You have to let her lead. Because you are 100% possible 100% of the time. So I want to thank you so much for being here today. I love these Motivation Mondays so much. And I want to ask too that if you know somebody that you think would really resonate with this, share this with them. It could just be the YouTube link. It could be Apple or Spotify, or you could invite them into this free group so that they can join us here on Mondays, just so we can start our week off together on the right note, building the momentum that we want to see in our businesses. And just creating this community of people who understand each other, who understand how they've been talking to themselves, and who want to create actual massive change in their lives. So thanks again for being here with me today, and I will see you next week, Monday. And don't forget, on Wednesdays, there is another episode of the podcast. You can watch it on YouTube. Or listen on Apple or Spotify. So have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you here live next week, Monday.